Okay, let's go to our wild card line. Welcome to Coast to Coast. You are on the air. Hi there.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, I basically just having a lot of personal involvement with these programs. This stuff started kind of like coming down on me, and it's interesting that the guest is calling everything harassment, and I want him to expand on harassment, because generally if a person is being harassed, they're aware of some aspect. They're being, if you will, if I can use my words, tormented in some way. So I'm a little nervous because I've been through a lot, and I'm going out on a limb here. I know all about this stuff. I've been through it for years. It's insidious. They do not leave you alone. And the problem is, once you figure it out, they can't leave you alone because you're a threat. But when he talks about harassment versus listening or surveillance that is supposedly undetected, but as he probably knows, they let you know that they are watching, monitoring you everywhere you are, in your car, at work, in your home, and that is where the harassment comes in. And I was wondering if he could expand on that.
Okay. Can I ask, and let me ask you one question. Do you want to share with us why they're after you? I'm curious. You don't have to tell us if you don't want to.
I could go into more, nothing like working for the military, anything like that. I think that I was in the wrong place, the wrong time.
All right.
It involved, some narcotics activity.
Aha.
Okay.
All right.
And they kind of picked me, not thinking that I would ever come as far as I have. And I think I'm a surprise to them, but it's ugly. If my friends are around me long enough, they go after them. And I know I sound like, but it's amazing. I appreciate you so much for your show. You have no idea. My family and friends have almost shunned me off. And not that I'm getting some validation here, and you're doing really good work. And you and I both know what the real story is here.
Okay, I'll let you listen on the radio. Of course, everybody makes a mistake in their lives, and the whole thing about mistakes, Roger, is to learn from them so you don't make them again. But in this particular case, is there a big difference between electronic eavesdropping and harassment?
Well, I think it would definitely be qualified as harassment. The interesting thing that he said is that they wanted him to know that he was being harassed, and there are many people that are being toyed with in that way. I run into that quite often. Being a drug trafficking individual will get you in the program real quick.
Well, of course. Now, I would trust he's out of what he's done. It sounds like he is.
Yeah, but once you're a lab rat, they don't say, "Okay, you're out of the cage, buddy. Have a nice time. Go out and play we'll see you never." Once you're a lab rat, you're a lab rat.
How much manpower does it take to monitor people, or is it as easy as it might seem, where one guy can monitor 50 people at one time or something like that?
You don't even need people. You just have machines that do the monitoring,
Over and over again.
Sure, yeah. Now, what I tell my clients to do is carry a video camera with you.
Why?
Take pictures of any harassment that takes place.
Okay, in case you have to sue them or something?
No, just see, here he's running the problem. Everybody thinks he's nuts. Now, that's a real difficulty that these people have. That once all this stuff is going on, nobody believes them.
No one believes them. You're right.
Everybody thinks that they flipped out.
They're seeing things.
That's right. Yeah, and especially with the voices, because like you and me and him can be in the same room, and he's hearing them, we're not. We just figure, they call them 5250s. That's what the cops call them. People that are off the deep end. But anyway, to make a long story short, they got real problems, and nobody believes them, and that just makes it worse. And then their family leaves them, and their friends leave them, and everybody deserts them, and it's just part of the big experiment.
What can he do?
You got a real problem. That when people have tried to take lawsuits up against some agencies, most of the times they're dismissed under national security. In other words, if he was to...
You got to find a willing judge, and I guess you can't do that.
I like your sense of humor. Anyway, to make a long story short, that's your best bet, is to get the video and carry binoculars in your car and take pictures of everybody that's part of the program, and that's the way to go.
Go right back at them, I guess.
Yeah, because what happens is all of a sudden if they start getting their pictures taken, then they're not doing their job right.
Yeah. And they don't want anything to do with that. Let's go west of the Rockies. Welcome to Coast. You're on the air. Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Merck over in Riverside.
Hello there.
Yeah, sounds like you're scaring all the tweakers tonight. Hey, check it out. I'm a computer science student over here, and lately, you know, it seems like I've been kind of creeped out. I'm more a science-based kind of person, you know, and I'm not too religious-based, but, you know, it seems like there's something converging, you know, like all this stuff is starting to come together. Like you've got this microchip embedded. You've got, you know, correlating with your 666, you know, Mark of the Beast or whatever. And is this biblically, like, for example, is this mark, this microchip, is it a voluntary thing or is it an involuntary thing?
Well, right now it's a voluntary thing.
No, I'm talking like biblically, like when they said, "Oh, the mark of the beast."
Well, we were never able to really to know what it meant exactly. Some people thought the mark of the beast was a computer, social security card. It keeps changing. Roger, I don't know if you've ever gotten involved in the biblical end, but that is something that has always fascinated me. This so-called mark of the beast. And then when you look at these computer chips and stuff, tell me their serial numbers don't start with 3 6s. Tell me that.
Well, you know, it's interesting to note that that some of this terrible legislation that's got us there has 666s in it.
Are you kidding me?
No, this one particular legislation that requires everybody to give Social Security numbers over on driver's licenses and any kind of licenses from the state. That was a federal mandate under Clinton. And that's under Section 666 of that law, and it's, you know, it's right there. You just look it up. You know, it's you know, it is what it is. You know.
Absolutely. Wildcard line. Welcome to Coast. Hi there.
Hi, George.
Yes, sir.
I had a question for your guest. Similar to the movie Enemy of the State, where Gene Hackman was in the enclosed building with the metal shielding. Do Faraday cages help to alleviate electronic harassment techniques?
Yes.
Is it to a bearable level?
It depends on the Faraday cage and its specifications. You'd have to look at what the frequency attenuation factors are on the Faraday cage. Different ones do different frequencies and different attenuations, and so you really need to look into the specifications of a Faraday cage, or if you're having one designed for a particular frequency, they're custom made.
What is a Faraday cage, Roger?
It's basically a shielding enclosure that's used for either testing the electronic equipment so that you don't have outside interferences. Although in embassies they use them in foreign embassies so that when you go in there you can have conversations that will not be affected by electronic espionage.
Are some corporations been constructed, the buildings have they been constructed like this in order to avoid stuff like that?
No, normally military manufacturers have these areas where you go to discuss top secret stuff.
Okay.